So the second one that we want to watch, there's a new God of War Ragnarok, father and son cinematic trailer. I'm really surprised that they did not put this in the larger Summer Game Fest event. I understand that they probably had a pretty packed time frame. They wanted to get out certain types of things. They did have their own little kind of pre Summer Game Fest stream. And so, like, I'm wondering what the back end here was with God of War. It's always been said that it's going to come out in 2022. They stuck to those guns. They didn't really go silent on the fact that it wasn't coming out in 2022, or if it was. They stuck to it. Cory Barlog, all PlayStation, they all God of War is coming out 2022, and we were like, maybe. So it's weird for me that in July, the month after, all the Summer Game Fest stuff happens, that they would come out with a 30-second teaser saying, hey, yeah, it's coming out in November. What's also really strange to me here is that this is such a low-key, under-the-radar type of announcement. This is God of War Ragnarok. God of War, the sequel to God of War 2018, one of the biggest selling games on the PlayStation consoles. So it feels weird that they're just kind of sneaking this in. I had to scroll through Twitter, saw that the trending was God of War, and clicked on it and saw this. I was fearing that it was going to either get pushed back or something else. But no, here we are. So it feels weird that they would do it like this. I figured that there would be a larger state of play event, which may still happen. But this feels a little, I don't want to say disrespectful, but that's the only word that I have for it right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't really understand the inner workings of what's going on with Sony. They probably have a reason for all this. I do know there's an unboxing. We may check it out. I think it's only like a minute 30. So we'll debate after we watch this if we want to check that out as well. But without further ado, I guess we'll watch this 30-second teaser of father and son cinematic from the PS4 and PS5. Okay, no gameplay, so that's pretty obvious.
When you are at your weakest,
when fear and doubt are a burden too heavy to bear,
Fenrir.
you are not alone.
Interesting. Okay. So, obvious first thing that we should just mention. November 9th. That's the release date for God of War Ragnarok. We also got a release of the cover art. It's looking fantastic. This is a nice looking cover. I do gotta say though, as now an owner of the PS5 and having seen PS5 covers, man, I do not like that white strip at the top. I really love the color scheme going on with the PS4 case. That's just me personally. But that PS5 one kind of it looks a little off. It looks I don't know. It doesn't mesh well. And I think with the blue, with the Ragnarok logo kind of having that blue already, it kind of does work a little bit. But that's not really important at all. That's like the smallest little thing that I'll forget in 20 seconds. But November 9th, that's really nice because originally Starfield was supposed to come out in 2022. And since we don't have an Elder Scrolls or a Fallout or Starfield or anything to worry about in November, this is a perfect time for God of War to be released. This will be a great Christmas kind of game for a lot of people, stocking stuffers. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe this still keeps God of War Ragnarok in the conversation for Game of the Year. Now, do I really think that it's going to win Game of the Year? Debatable. Mostly because we have Elden Ring that released in 2022. That game, most game journalists really love all FromSoft games, and it's really hard to beat something like Elden Ring that had such a game, like the gaming zeitgeist around it lasted for months, and it's still kind of going with new builds going on, secrets, lore videos, and everything like that. Whether it deserves it or not is a completely different conversation, but we'll have to see what God of War Ragnarok comes out with, and if they decide it wants to be in that conversation for 2022, or if they want to push it on to 2023's Game of the Year. Depends on, I guess, how fast people are able to finish it and stuff like that, and how much content it has or doesn't have, possibly. But it looks I mean, what can you say? It's a CG trailer, right? You can't really judge anything based off a CG trailer here, but we can still take some information. We still have a lot of the same enemies for what I can recall from the first game. Now, I haven't played it since 2018, so my memory's a little fuzzy on that one, but these still seem like, I'm gonna call them draugrs from the first game. Now, one thing I did notice, and forgive me as I ramble, this is a raven crow flying through, and I think one right over here, that's Odin. Odin has the two ravens or crows on his shoulder, usually depicted. They were also in the original God of War, looking out. You could find them in key spots, constantly watching us. We never saw Odin. We never spoke to Odin. Most people didn't really refer to him all that much, but we know he was always there, and it is obviously Norse mythology, so we'll see how that comes through. This looks like a new enemy, right? These guys like burning like this. I don't think we've ever seen like a heavy enemy quite like this. So will be interesting to see what kind of enemy variety that this game has. One thing I was really disappointed with in the original God of War 2018, I should say 2018's God of War, was the enemy variety. I did not feel like it was enough. I didn't feel like they had enough variety, and they were able to keep it interesting. Don't get me wrong, but from the mini bosses to the main bosses to just their general enemies, it really felt like a step back from the original trilogy. I'll call it God of War 1 through 3, which I really consider the main games. How they kind of tackled a lot of their enemies. They were usually unique per area. You usually had your basic grunts, and then you had, more the minotaurs and, the gorgons, and everything kind of changed based off of what location and what level you were currently at. In God of War 2018, you kind of had a lot of the same dude. You had the trolls constantly making an appearance, or cyclopses. I forget which enemy it really was, but the big mini boss, you did the same attack over and over again. It really felt kind of disappointing. And I did feel like in turn, and this is again 4 years out, that even some of the main bosses weren't as impactful as the original trilogy were. So we'll see what happens here with Kratos and the enemy variety. So far, I also haven't seen any kind of hint of the Blades of Chaos. Now, this is maybe a little bit spoilers. I'm so sorry for people who haven't played the original, but why are you watching Ragnarok stuff if you haven't played the original? At one point at the end of the first game, he does get to the Blades of Chaos again. I do not see any hint of those as of right now. So it'll be interesting to see if they power Kratos down, or if there's a reason for it, or if it's just not present in this current cinematic. So we'll see. Now, there is something walking over here. Granted, it could be Fenrir's paw coming down, like he maybe has a little anklet right here. But it looks like he has a bit more orange. Now, I don't want to. It's a little hard to tell. Everything's a little washed out right now, but kind of looks like a little bit of an orangey paw here. A little bit of red coming through this blue snowscape. So it'll be interesting to see what the heck this is. Also, I just want to check the direction that they're facing. Okay, it is Fenrir. Okay. Yeah, you can still see the bracelet right here. Cool. Okay, gotcha. And then Atreus. It's a little bit older, so we have a little bit of a time skip here. And you get a little hint at his new voice. I don't know if the actor who originally played him has grown up, obviously, with the time puberty, and they're keeping that character, or if the voice actor has in fact changed.
Too heavy to bear.
Remember this. You are not alone.
Cool. Good to see. They're still here. It'll be interesting to see how Atreus and Kratos' relationship continues, or possibly doesn't. Advances, I should say. There was a little bit of conflict at certain points. Obviously, knowing his history, won't say too much else after that. Seeing where he goes, and maybe if he'll continue being on Kratos' side or not. So that will be kind of one of those things. One last thing, I do want to rewatch this and just listen to what Kratos and Atreus say, so that we can maybe pick out a few things here or there.
When you are at your weakest.
and fear and doubt are a burden too heavy to bear.
Remember this. You are not alone.
You are not alone. When you are at your weakest and fear and doubt becomes too heavy to bear, remember, you are not alone. Interesting. So I wonder if you are at your weakest, right? Maybe it's actually saying like, hey, you're going to be at your weakest point as Kratos, right? He's no longer that young spring chicken that he used to be. Yes, I guess he's immortal. I guess Kratos technically is immortal. I don't know if I've ever really made that canon or not, but he doesn't age that much, or if he does, it's very, very slowly. So I don't know if like he's at his weakest because he's losing powers. Maybe Odin or any of those gods have the power to overwrite the curse that he had originally. Maybe they can strip him of his powers as part of a gameplay wise. So maybe it's a story reason, maybe it's a gameplay reason, maybe it's just at your weakest like mentally. Maybe their relationship is strained. So it'll be interesting to see how they make that. And then going back to this trailer and kind of seeing how that relates back into the story, right? What were they laying out here that we can parse after we've completed the game? One of the really cool things, I'll take this quick little tangent, was when they did the first announcement teaser that they were remaking Final Fantasy VII. They had that narrator, speaking through, and it was a really cool like scene. You don't even really know that it's Final Fantasy VII unless you can really pick out certain locations. But they're not really talking specifically about the characters or anything like that. They're kind of talking generally. And then after playing Remake, it was cool to go back to that trailer and seeing like, holy crap, the groundwork that they were laying out just in that one trailer without really even showing gameplay per se was actually really cool. So I'm curious to see if this will continue on in this game as well. But if not, I'm perfectly okay with it. Yeah. Okay. So for everyone here on Twitch, obviously the stream is going to continue. We're going to be playing games, but for everyone watching on YouTube, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this reaction of God of War Ragnarok Father and Son trailer. I didn't think it was going to be as long as it was, seeing that it's only a 30-second trailer, but actually sitting here and watching it and parsing out any information that we could, it was actually kind of fun for a game that I'm relatively excited for a franchise that I absolutely adore. So if you guys are ever interested, I always stream these live over on Twitch. We stream 4 times a week, usually Mondays and Tuesdays, Fridays and Saturdays, usually 6 p.m. on the weekdays and then 1 p.m. on Saturday. Sometimes the schedule changes based off of events that happen in real life there and there. But you can always find me on Twitter. You can find all my socials down over here and see what is going on in my life and updates and, different types of things that I want to say that I don't say off on stream. Obviously, if you're just here for the reactions and you want to see me play these games instead of just talking about them, you can always follow this channel right over here, Lamoura. That on YouTube is my Let's Play channel. I put up all the Let's Plays that I play on stream and then chop up in more manageable parts for YouTube. Obviously, you're here for the reactions and stuff like that, so you can continue subscribing to this channel. You can follow all my other social medias to continue seeing other types of content that I put out. So either way, whatever way that you decide you want to interact or engage with this community, I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video and do all that fun stuff. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all next time at the next reaction, the next Let's Play, the next stream. All right, y'all. Peace out, and much love to you.